Let the best contestant win.
Test. Test. Test.
Contestant number 1, Khalid Ismail, have baby na, have baby na, Khalid Ismail.
Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters. At the age of 12, my mother would always tell me, Colin, you're a young and handsome man. You need to find a good girl to become your wife. As I got older, Colin, you have a good car, a good job, and a somewhat good face. So please find a wife to live the good life. As I got older than old, Colin, look at you. You're getting older and fatter and obviously not any taller. So please find someone who will accept you for who you are before it's too late. Surprisingly, after all those years and this body, I discovered that one day, khalas, I was married. But before we could celebrate our union of passion in the honeymoon, my mother, with tears in her eyes, came up to me and said, Khalid, oi, have baby now. Just like that, before I knew it, whatever passion the wife and I had at that moment was gone. And the next questioning chapter of my life had just started. From when are you getting married to, where's the baby? I had not even kissed my own wife yet. And she wanted the baby then and there. After the honeymoon, we returned without a baby. Because the wife and I were too busy into family planning. So much so because she believed it was baby or no baby. Because she started to blame me, why get married if you don't want baby? So I thought my mother began to understand. She couldn't get anything out of me, so she decided to pester the wife. But that didn't work either because it takes two to tango. But please, please, don't misunderstand. We may like the process, just not the end result. With that said, my mother began to be more desperate and thought of more creative ways to try and convince me to have my child. At this point, I believed she was a Toastmaster because she started to exhibit skills and facets of a very successful vice president of membership. You see, every Friday, I go to the mall to have breakfast with my mom. While we were seated and eating, she waited for a couple to walk in with a toddler and pass by. And at that moment, she began her membership campaign. Colin, look at her. She's so small. She's so cute. She's like a toy. I want one. Colin, oi, I want baby now. The week after, she tried something different. This time as she was sitting down. Ay, naku, Khalid. Look at me. I'm getting older now. But of course, still very beautiful. But I can feel it in my bones. I don't have much time on this earth. So please, before I close my eyes, Let me see my grandchild. Colin. Oi, have baby now. The week after, she was far more direct. Colin, oi, have baby now. Go to your wife and don't come back until the baby is born. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. You can come to the house whenever you want to play with it, okay? And I thought, wow, this was a very good idea. Cost effective too. But then I remembered how my mother raised her kids. I, for one, speaks for itself. But if you don't believe me, this is the same mother who watched my baby brother crawl to the side of the bed, fall, hit his head, and cry in pain, only for my mother to pick him up and lovingly say, "Such a stupid baby." It is at this exact moment I knew where I got my sense of humor. Ultimately, my mother gave up her membership campaign and graciously invited me to her house for breakfast, which I agreed. And as I entered her house, I was greeted by a tiny little Shih Tzu dog named Chloe in her arms. "See, Chloe, Carly don't want to give me baby, so I have my own baby." And she walked away. Fellow Toastmasters, do you understand what it feels like to be replaced by a tiny little dog? And you know what's worse? That tiny little dog had babies before I did. I am being compared every day to the child-making facilities of a tiny little dog. Every day I have struggled against my mother. And you know what? I love it. I love it and I love her. Because that's what mothers are. She always pushes me. From a boy to a man. From a man to a husband. From a husband to a hopeful father. But I cannot wait for the day when she comes up to me with tears in her eyes. My mother. And she says, "Colin, you have baby now."
One minute silence, please. Thank you.